Up, squad? So I just ate some oysters and one of those sausages right there, and I had a breakthrough in my film of Neely at Job Corps, Beyonce and Combi, and Mac Lesbian in 2004 to 2008. But it was a big time because the lobes of the sun shining, my lobes shone bright under mom's eye. But I never known that. But as I laid in my room alone in 2009, my hormones developed a relationship between the walls and my soul. But our mom was about to be here soon, and I cooked my first cube steak by myself. Yeah, but the seasoning kind of got burnt a little bit. But I was just thinking, I wouldn't think that South Shore minded me that much. But they did when I became the legend of the U.S. And the thing was, you could always be a visionary because you were going to have a child. You could always visualize the way that you wanted your child's life to be. You could be messed up in your head and have all types of messed up assumptions, but you could always be a visionary because your child, because you were going to have children. So you could always be a book writer. You could always be, even if you didn't have eyes, even if you weren't mixed or light skinned, you could always have eyes because you could visualize the way you wanted your child's life to be. So you could always be a visionary. But I was writing in my notebook all day today, and just the lobes of Buenos Circle Park and mom's success route, the hormones and the decisions that I had in the community and in the city, the Satanists said, we see. They said, we see this soul. Their eyes were open and they were furious, and they said, we see. Because their eyes were open and they were in a safe place. They wanted to steal the soul of Maria's son. They said, we see these eyes. We see, because they were in a safe place. And they were mad that the soul of Maria's son was free. And they said, we see. But, oh Lord, judge my soul, remember my soul. Let not them say I brought a nation to its knees under my eyes. Let not them say that. But Lord, judge my soul. I tried to wash my underwears earlier in this machine, but it didn't work. The man behind the camera, but the Satanists said, we see. They were mad. They were furious because their lives were shitty. Their fathers were full of shit, and their moms were shitty, and they reached into Maria's household and they said, we see. They were angry in their soul. They were angered in their soul. And they said, nobody will know. Nobody will see. They said, we see. But they were crybabies. All that talk, all that putting people through something, and you're just a big crybaby. Oh, I'm not gonna lose. Oh, I'm not gonna lose. Fat crybaby, man. But Morris's soul had so much levels of lobes in his brain. 2014 to 2018 CPS was long after Morris returned from Virginia. YMCA export was all the essence of Morris's soul. The Satanists were crybabies, and they said, we will not lose. We see, they said, nobody will know. They were crybabies, and they said, we refuse to lose, because their eyes were open, man. All that bitch shit, man. Their eyes were open, and they were crybabies. But Morris had many lobes. Morris had many lobes in his brain. In this 1614, the man behind the camera had many lobes. Many lobes. I took out the trash earlier and I seen the white lady walking in her stroller. And it was a big essence of the community. It was a big essence of the community because the white person was domesticated and their eyes categorized all of the black communities and the people. But it was bad because the nigger arose and they said they seen that God had cleared the scape from east to west of Morris's soul and his magic draw. They seen that God had cleared the surface east to west, and they said, we see in secret. We will use this scape for our glory, they said, because their eyes were open. The Satanists were all around. The Satanists were all around. We see, they said. And this was the same Satanist from 2015, long before Mom graduated in this house when Mom used to return here. But Morris had many lobes. He had many lobes behind his magic draw. He had many lobes behind his magic draw. He had many lobes behind his magic draw, but the albinos said we see. But the seer system from 2015 came long after Morris's Rapunzel, in the seer system of his soul that happened long after Combi. And if you see the computer, sometimes Morris, they could say Morris dropped his mind. But the essence of Morris's literature and his writing, what the Satanists said, we will use this for our secret books, they said. We will use this to make our secret literature. You liar, you thief. They said nobody will see. We stand and we stand and nobody will see. Nobody will see our hidden attack. Damn, bitch. And nobody will see me. Nobody will see you, fat little bitch. Nobody will see, they said. Crybaby, man. All that shit you put people through just because you don't want to lose. It's not yours. It's not yours. You never did shit in the first place to have those marks of honor. It doesn't belong to you. But the man behind the mirror, the man behind the camera consisted of a psychology that consisted of a man's eyes, his arms in the motion, the thoughts of his mind in his eyes, the borders in which he was around in his circumference. But through the camera, the soul had no boundaries except for the direction of the synthesis. The camera could just be all glory. The camera had no sense. It could record something and you didn't know what was being focused on, but Just like Morris's day, from the morning he woke up, Donegan was trying to sit in his soul with Barry and steal his magic jar and steal the history of his magic jar. But then Tyrone came in and said, "You gonna steal my stuff? I'm gonna steal your stuff." And Tyrone came in and said that, and they said, "We don't exist." But they had already made their attacks against Morrisseau. So you couldn't see the progress in the 2020 approach from the Obama-Trump transition of 2017. The Satanists said, "We see," because they had nothing better to do with their lives. Morris was too pretty. He was too handsome, and they couldn't stand him. And they bulged his head out. But Morris said, "Oh God, let not my child say that I'm a hating ass nigga. But let my child say my father is honorable. My father is mighty. My father is a man. Let not my child say my father is a bitch." But the Satanists were mad. They were angered in their soul. They hated the young 19-year-old. They were mad in their soul. And they wanted to say, "We have heart. Beats his your ass down before I knock your ass out. Beats his your ass down before I knock your ass out." And they wanted to say, "We have heart," and he doesn't. And they wanted to make humor against his soul because their eyes were open and they were in the safety of the system. But Morris was too pretty. He was too handsome. He looked better than their greatest man. He looked better than their albinos and their best looks. He looked greater. He was greater than them. He was greater than them. And they were mad. So they came in secret and they said, "Nobody will know." They said, "Nobody will see, but oh Lord, judge my soul. Let not my son say that I am a liar."